Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to another Arabic lesson with your brother Muhammad Sharri. And today's lesson is going to be about the definite article, or in Arabic, al-Ta'rif. First of all, what is al-Ta'rif? Let me write it out for you. Al-Ta'rif is simply two letters that we add to the beginning of words, which transforms them from a state of indefiniteness to a state of definiteness. And I'll make that very clear for you. So it's basically an alif without a hamza, a lam, and this lam has a sukoon on top. Sometimes that sukoon goes away, and in our examples we'll make that very clear. So this in English is called the definite article. The definite article. In Arabic it's called al-Ta'rif. Where is this? Al-Ta'rif. There we go. Al-Ta'rif. Alright, so let's move on to our first example. And in our first example, we're going to use a noun that we should all be very familiar with because we all live in this place. And that is, I hope we all live in this place. Some people don't even have one of these. It is bait. So let's put the harakat really quickly on it. Baytun. Alright, baytun. In English, baytun refers to a house. Oops, we're still in Arabic mode here. A house. And not any specific house. A house is a noun, and specifically, because it's not defined, it's an indefinite noun. Okay? This will become more clear to you later. So, we want to go from saying a house to the house. How do we do that? Well, in Arabic, we don't add the, we just add al-Ta'rif. And that's what we're going to do. That's the whole point of our lesson today. And let's go ahead and do that. When we do that, certain things happen to the harakat on the word, and I'll show you what happens exactly. So, alif lam of al-Ta'rif are added, al-bay, and then we have to ask ourselves, is this letter, the first letter of our word, is it a sun letter or a moon letter? If you don't know that already, make sure you revise the sun letters and the moon letters, and then you'll know how to apply this in this lesson. Al-baytu. The ba is a moon letter, and therefore I put a sukoon on top of the lam. And when I add the definite article to a word, the tanween goes away. The tanween at the end of a word is dropped. So let's do that. We get rid of that, and all we're left with is a dhamma. So we went from baytun to al-baytu. Al-baytu. Alright, let's do another example. Actually, before we do that, let me write in English what we just did. What we did was, we're no longer talking about a house, we're talking about the house. The house. Or the house. And it's still a noun. We didn't change the word. It's not an action word or anything. It's not a particle. It's not a harf. So we say this is a definite noun now because we added the definite article to it. Okay. Let's do another example. This is also a noun, as all words that deal with definite articles are. This is hisan, or horse. Let's do that. Let's quickly add the harakat to it. Hisanun, or in English, a horse. And it's also a noun, and it's indefinite. And when we add our definite article, we are going to make it definite. We're going to go from a horse to the horse. To do that in Arabic, we add the alif and lam, also known as al-Ta'rif. Al-Ta'rif. Let's pick the right brush. Let's add our al-Ta'rif, alif, followed by a lam. And now we move on to the harakat. We have to ask ourselves the first letter in our word. Is it a sun letter or a moon letter? In this case, it's a moon letter. So we put a sukoon on the lam. And finally, the last thing we have to do is eliminate the tanween. So let's do that. We take the tanween away, tanween al-dam, and what we're left with is a dhamma. So we went from hisanun to al-hisanu. Okay, in English, that would be the horse, and we're still a noun, but this time we say we have a definite noun. Okay, so far we've been dealing with words that begin with moon letters. Let's try a word that begins with a sun letter and see what happens when you add al-ta'rif to it. An example of a word that begins with a sun letter is Zahra, actually Zahratun. And let's add the harakat really quickly. Zahratun, a rose. And let's put that there in the indefinite form. Let's write it out in English, what this means. Let's select the proper color here. A rose, it's also a noun, and it's indefinite. And now we're going to make it definite by adding al-ta'rif. We are going to write the rose. Alright, here we go. Let's take our brush and make sure it's the proper thickness. Okay, and we add al-ta'rif to this word. Now, we added the al-ta'rif. We need to know whether or not we're going to add a sukoon or we're going to do something else. So the first question we ask ourselves is the first letter of the word a sun or a moon letter? In this case, it's a sun letter. And so I don't put a sukoon on the lam, but instead I put a shadda with the haraka on the first letter of the word. Finally, like in all the other examples, we get rid of the tanween. Let's get rid of it. And what we're left with is just a little dhamma right there. So we went from Zahratun, a rose, to Az-Zahratu, Az-Zahratu. I'm emphasizing the za right there because I have a shadda on it. In English, this would be the rose. Of course, it's still a noun, but it's definite now, no longer indefinite. Let's do another example with a word that begins with a sun letter. Let's think of one. How about Shams? Shams, we all know Shams, right? So a sun. Let's use a thicker brush here. Shamsun. Alright, with the harakat. Shamsun. Okay? And in English, that would be a sun. And it's a noun, and it's indefinite. It's not very specific, it's just a sun. We're not talking about a specific sun here. And we're going to make it the sun. And we do that by adding the definite article. And that in Arabic is al-ta'rif. And we know at this point that that is an alif. Oops, let's do this. Alif and lam. And now we have to ask ourselves, is the first letter of our word a moon letter or a sun letter? Well, a sheen is a sun letter, therefore I put a shadda on that letter. And the last thing I have to do is eliminate the tanween. Let's eliminate the tanween. And we're left with just a dhamma. So we went from shamsun to ash-shamsu. Ash-shamsu. Okay, in English, that is the sun. And it's a noun, and this time it is a definite noun. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion is the definite article alif lam or al, let's put that in brackets, is added to nouns to change them from an indefinite state to a definite state. When we add the definite article al to a noun, the tanween at the end of a word is dropped or removed. Finally, the definite article al-ta'rif is only added to nouns. I'll show you an example of what would happen if you added it to a verb. This will be our final example, and you'll see how it doesn't make sense to add the definite article to anything other than nouns. So here's an example of a verb, daraba. Let's add the harakat to it really quick. Oops, we forgot something. We forgot a nuqta right there. And let's go back and do this. Daraba. He hit. Okay? He hit. It's a past tense verb. And let's say I add a al-ta'rif to it. Just before I do that, let us write in English. He hit. That's what this word means. It's a past tense verb. Now let's add daraba to it, or al-ta'rif to it. Okay, and in English this becomes the he hit. It doesn't make sense. Al-ta'rif only applies to nouns. So this is nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. Only applies to verbs. And that's it. That's all there is to know about al-ta'rif. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video made the concept of the definite article or al-ta'rif clear to you guys. Take care. Bye bye.